You can wheelie jump with it, or you just nose up and it jumps. Oh, here we go. Ice, copper, silicon. Oh, it looks like the ores is in the hilly parts. Okay.
Well, my screen, I don't see diddly squat, so you're gonna have to find them.
Well, that's because we didn't put on a diddly squat detector.
I know, and I can't find it.
Huh? Oh, we don't need. We don't really need iron, cobalt, nickel, ice, or silicon. So everything that's currently showing up is kind of a bummer.
Well, you did say that you needed iron and ice.
Yeah, we are low on ice, but not. I mean, low on ice as far as like if our mothership was still running on hydrogen power. But for us refilling our tanks, like, we're fine.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt to collect more.
I
I'm gonna take the mountain pass because it seems like this is where the ore is.
see. I think you need some thrusters on this to help you get up mountains.
Yeah, you would. So here's a strategy I've seen where someone does a downward thrust so that it pushes down on your wheels, and then you can climb walls. You just stick to a wall with the thrust.
I've seen that, but I like to fly.
Well, it's not a rover anymore if it flies.
It does if it lets you jump, and then it has backward thrust only, so it can actually keep it up if you nose up. Then you have to land, and then you're roving.
Some iron there. We are not having a lot of luck. So it could be that platinum might be biome specific, and we are not in the right biome on this planet for platinum. So I guess what I would say then is the flow of events seems to be we search around for a bit, see if we can find some platinum here, and if we just really can't find any platinum here, then why don't we consider then going to space with the mothership and trying to find it there instead?
Works for me.
Now, we could also go to this planet's moon, which is, I made the planet Crate the moon of this. If you've played with modded planets before, you probably recognize it. That one's been around for a while. Ooh, you know what? Gold, though. Do we need gold? No, we ended up finding gold, didn't we?
We found gold, yes.
Really, we just want to make sure we have enough platinum for our thrusters. I don't think I've actually damaged any blocks on this thing yet. As ridiculous as I've been driving.
Which I knew you would.
Yeah.
Jump
Speaking of,
inside drills.
you want to drive for a minute?
Nope. I don't.
Okay, you just want your control seat where you stand there and have your finger over the red button.
That way I can do that.
Ah, it is an important feature.
That's my job.
Your job is pyrotechnician.
Murphy Bat, now is your time. Okay. Well, Murphy Bat gets lots of time when he's driving. He likes to crash things so he can rebuild them.
Yeah, it is my subtle excuse to build a brand new thing is, whoops, we wrecked it, let's just rip it apart.
Yeah. Let's try a different design this time.
Speaking of, we need a crash counter on our stream. Oh, that was risky, but I went for it anyway. Cobalt, nickel, iron, silicon. So still not seeing a lot. We're about 12k out right now. This was a bad track, but we're gonna go for it anyway. The wheels down, get the wheels down, get the wheels down. Get the wheels.
You had thrusters.
It wouldn't be much of a dragster if it could fly. You could also tweak my wheel settings on the fly while I'm driving.
I could.
Mr. Control.
You think I know what those are?
Wheel suspensions. So strength controls the strength of the suspension, and power is how much power goes to the wheel. So by default, there's usually 60% power going to wheels. If we're struggling to climb, you can flip that up to 100 and see if that helps. Otherwise, playing with friction settings, which is kind of like tire pressure, will sometimes help.
I just want to enjoy, you know.
You just want to be driven like Miss Daisy, huh?
Yeah, I mean that's it. I don't.
Well, I'm quickly tiring of searching, and I just kind of want to drill something. So
Well,
maybe we
yeah, I
just.
just want you to find something so we can drill it. Then we can go get Moshi and we can go up into space and get the platinum because I don't think there's any on this planet.
Well, the
Tell you the truth.
problem is if we don't like, you want to put more thrusters on the Moshi, but we may run out of the platinum to be able to do that to be able to get to space. So we might have to find platinum or change our plan.
But we won't know that.
Well, it's based on how patient we are with finding platinum.
We're never patient. I think we know that.
No, we're already impatient. What are we like 3 minutes in, and we're like, I give up.
I'm not giving up. I'm trying to find this power, right? That's what I'm looking for, or in friction. Is that the two things you said? Friction?
So power is the amount of electrical power that are going to the wheels. The default setting is
I just want to know
60.
is those two things you talked about. Power
Well, I talked about
and
3 things, but
what?
power and friction are usually what I would look at first. In fact, if you're gonna toolbar stuff like I think you're doing,
Yeah.
I would just probably toolbar the friction, and then do the power via slider by going into the actual
Yeah.
K menu.
You can't tell me
Because,
what to do. You can't tell me.
well,
You
it's just
try,
too
but you
hard to
can't do it.
have it. It's like piston velocity where it jumps by a large amount, you know?
So, and where's friction? Friction.
Man, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to just take a small scout out instead of this big thing, and to look for platinum, because I feel like we have to go so slow in this thing. Yeah, and I hit 80, I feel like I'm just flying in it.
Decrease friction. Well, you have a scout. But you gotta find something to drill.
I'm kind of doing a big circle back to the base. I'm seeing what I can find. Probably wouldn't hurt to have some magnesium, maybe. I mean, none of this stuff I'm getting excited about. Maybe another gold deposit, but I think what we're finding is a lot of the, like, that kind of, like, the tier 2 minerals we're finding on hillsides, which this thing kind of sucks, drilling into a hillside. It's kind of meant to point down. It's a deep driller, not a side driller. Oh, there it is. So the moon, as I said earlier, is the planet Crate. Just a very small version of planet Crate. So that's what we're looking at there. It's just in front of the vehicle. Hmm. Yeah. I thought this place was going to be a little more rich than this, but it's kind of sparse here. Well, I say that, and there's like ores everywhere, but not the ore I want. Where's your T3 ores, Joven?
It's a good question.
I mean, now, admittedly, I think it's the same ore map as Purdom, so if I played Purdom more, I'd probably know this better. Oh, this looks like it could be danger.
Well, we went here because it's supposed to have everything we could ever want. And
Uh-huh.
so far, it has what was on the other planet.
Well, it does have gold.
Yeah, one little deposit of gold. That's right.
Yeah, it's more than the last planet.
It's true, but not the reason to come all this way.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, I think this is a job for a scout. You know what I'm saying? Like a small grid vehicle like Randy to run around and scout it, mark it, come back, grab the drill, and then go to that
Well, you
mark.
have a scout.
Yeah, we should take the scout instead of this. Because this is just too slow to cover ground, and it's too risky to have this whole thing blow up. Right? We'd rather wreck a Randy and just blueprint another one than have to blueprint this whole thing. You know, and reproject this whole thing. Of course, you remember what happened last time we took scouts out.
That was Randy. You actually have a scout. You built a scout. Where you're gonna run into the thing? Don't. Why do you do that?
Because it's the easiest way to stop.
So are brakes.
Yeah, but you can just hit that and stop. It's like a little bumper stop. I mean, we could leave things in the safe zone we don't want to get attacked, but so far, I don't think I've seen a space pirate yet.
Yeah, nobody's attacking.
Suspension. There we go. There's no good way in and out of this. A good, true decorative vehicle. Okay, well that was a failed trip. So, but in that time, looks like Build and Repair has built us these thrusters that we had placed on the way out. So we now have, what is that, 24 downwards thrusters, which I'm going through and systematically disabling. There we go. So we're not burning the power for no reason. Are these refineries still running, or have they processed everything? There's still 17K platinum ore being processed here. And that's it. It's just platinum. But unfortunately, it's not balancing these. So let's put 4 there. Put 4K there. And then 4K there. So we're spreading it out. There we go. Now it will run a little more efficiently. So we don't have Izzy's script running on the refinery station. We do now have Izzy's script running on the mothership, and we do have a quota that we're operating from. It's so weird to have a airlock on that side. But yeah, Izzy's script I think it's running up here. So that we have our quota right there. Looks like we're over on most stuff. And then we got our readouts here, just telling us everything going on. And yeah, I know I can't get platinum out of that. We're not supposed to. It spits out there. Because it's funny to watch it spit out and then to see bars come and pick it up. I enjoy that. So, we're going to now put... I presume we are going to work on thruster strategy to get this out of the atmosphere now?
Sure. Either that or you're going to take your scout to try to find something.
Okay, so we found with these modded thrusters, if you use these, I mean, there's a few different ways you can do it, but if you use these, you can stack them really, really well. Did not mean to color that. Wait, why is that color? Why does that look green? Is that just... Oh, it's just the way it's occluded. Okay, anyway. We are going to now say... in an ideal world, it'd be great if we didn't have to have as much thrust in every direction. If we just use down thrust to get out, that would be awesome. Because once we're in space, we're going to need very little. It's not. I don't think we're gonna maneuver this thing as much as we're gonna jump it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So what I'm thinking is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we do something like 1, 2, and then we flip these around like that and face these into those two. So these have like some really generous mount points. So doing that, and then we can kind of stack these together, and then we can literally just put like plates underneath of this to disguise these. And I do have a mod on that allows us to recolor thrusters as well. And in that regard, we can hide some of these thrusters where we just don't really want them to show. I'm not going to cover that up just yet. I'm going to let that fill in. But that's, I've now added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 back. Oh no.
That's not looking good. No. Okay, so we have technical difficulties. I am getting kicked out.
Yeah, it's a crash. I called it.
So, yeah.
Sweet. I just had my dentist assistant text me about potentially training her dog. That is good news for me because that means I might have a potential new client. Well, as you don't know, in real life, I am a dog trainer, which is kind of a fun job because I get paid to play with people's dogs all day, teach them how to be good boys and girls. You know what? I'm just gonna fill this floor in, and we can always come back and be decorative with it later if we want, with interior blocks or whatever. But I'm just gonna seal the floor, and I think let's just keep the jump drive where it's at because there's no real effective way to drain this once it's been filled. You know what I mean? Like this has a ton of power stored in it, and I would really hate to just rip it out and lose that. Although just for the fact that it would look better over there, although it would look a lot better over there, it isn't hurting anything where it's at. I need to quit doing that. Keep walking off the edge and stubbing my toe. But anyway, thank you for sticking with us through the technical difficulties. I do appreciate that. Um, this game is unfortunately a little bit crash prone, and we'll do our best to make it stable. We are running modded, but it is pretty lightweight mods. But I've seen in situations where you start doing clangy stuff like that, where it gets a little bit like our Pink Rover, where the game tends to think a little too hard, you might say. Get lost in the calculations. Too many physics things. I mean, it's a big reason why Veggie and I don't do a whole lot of combat in this game because we find it. I mean, even with my setup, it's tough. It's tough performance wise to have a battle where you feel like you actually get decent frames and the game isn't at risk of going completely haywire. I think the best scenario I've had for battles is actually in the drone scenario where you have to like protect the beacon from an endless wave of drones. That I have really great performance on somehow. Are you just standing there lifelessly?
Sort of. I'm trying to figure out how to get your agreement. I was figured since, I had to stop it, it's not working. You know how it goes. Try to do something cool and you can't do it. There's this thing called personal space. I'm just saying there's personal space, sir.
Huh? I'm actually in the crowd too. That was just my flying camera.
There's personal space.
Just that was your close up. Everyone gets.
I don't need a close-up, Mr. DeVille. Anybody? Anybody?
Mm.
Anybody get that?
I almost said it, even though I think I just lost the middle mouse button on my mouse. No.
That's
Oh,
not good.
that is devastating.
Well, I hope you find it.
You
That's a little joke.
gonna ask him if his refrigerator is running next?
If your refrigerator's running, you better go catch it.
Yep.
Oh, I did this once. I gotta do it again.
I feel like we need a new twist on the refrigerator running joke. Like, hey, is your refrigerator running? Yeah. Yeah. For what office?
Yeah, I'd vote for it.
Does a good job keep the stuff cold and it's consistent. So I mean that's commendable. We could ask the AI for more space themed jokes.
And we could tell them all.
Well, some of them get pretty repetitive, but Let's see, does it? Yep, it still has my thread for space dad jokes. There was a error generating a response. It was too much of a groaner. Okay, while we're waiting for chat to figure out what it's doing, it's very confused right now. We might just have to write new prompts. Okay. Oh, not the button I meant to press. Get in, switch to first person. Okay. What's the one I'm looking for? There we go. Okay, so we've ripped all our hydrogen tanks off, which means I need to add some small ones on for the purpose of refilling our bottles. And then when that happens, we can let some of the fuel back in from the tanker. Oh, you disconnected it, didn't you?
I did.
Oh, well, we're gonna need a little bit of hydrogen fuel from that.
Okay.
Which I guess we can move via ship, maybe? But anyway, yeah, so what happened is we removed all the big tanks off the ship, which is what we're wanting to do, because we don't want to have to carry all that hydrogen weight. So now, let me slap some small ones on, and then we will pump some hydrogen fuel back in. So, let's see here.
So you
Can
want
we...
some hydrogen? I take it.
Yeah, we're gonna need some.
Okay.
I guess I could stick a tank right there. Yeah. That seems like a pretty good spot to stick it.
I'm not gonna say it, but I think you know what I was thinking.
You were thinking about my super awesome joke I said earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, looks like chat is up. Tell me another space-themed dad joke. Why did the astronaut become a gardener?
To get to the other side. Oh, wait a minute. That's a different joke.
I don't quite understand this punchline, but okay. Because they wanted to explore the cosmos of flowers and planet trees.
Okay, that's not a good one.
I don't get it. I'm sorry. Sometimes AI is really bad at this. Okay. What did Mars say to Saturn during the basketball game?
I don't know.
You're out of this world.
Well, that's true.
I don't know what basketball has to do with it, but
Nothing.
nothing really.
Nothing.